Hello, I misspoke. It was Wethersfield Walgreens, not CVS. It's next to CVS. There are people with the name Mazzucato that Wethersfield police confessed and recorded. They have a retired Wethersfield police chiefs, plural, involved with them with various natures of organized crimes, which also recorded are used as collusion slash S where abuses of each age of human fact sheet nature was is leveraged. These are people that are building influence to build upon predicate acts and databases at and next to each camp in conjunctive to it and to that, each age and nature of campus, including in fire and medical. There are a bunch of people that faked conversations with me at Hartford Hospital, tied to and as one's name Leahy and Lombardo. And they have collusions with people further involved with medical offenders of kids. And they affected questions on my street and at my campuses. And with Facebook. Facebook has role playing forensics, staging and faking digital evidence, where they use in other words, they pretend they are innocent by saying, "Oh, well, you're supposed to prove things in court." Where the court's databases are part of the evidence too. The Britain Superior Court has been switching and forging names with more then and now tied to proven child abusers, leaders of kids, years apart. And the families who had collusion slash S with that with other natures of organized crimes at the same time, and the kids of the interbranch. And then pretending that there's not more involved. They're blocking me from speaking about. Their family, their motivations are recorded too. Relative to what I caught them self-value collusions with, where no one self-value. You guys have self-value collusion slash S on a mass scale with just even black pupils' whites of eyes. Logic by correlation by nature itself gives us means by correlation. It shows us its body is generating other species' bodies with two eyes, two sexes. It is showing us an extent of consciousness that even insects have with our own awareness of how we're approaching them. Even, in other words, they can see us in our consciousness, just like we can see them. So at campuses A through Z, there is a nature, there are recorded tactically juxtaposed distinct natures of organized crimes. And there's a recorded conscious use slash S of that. That's what American history's parts are about. Those civil rights impositions multi-front. James Madison described through declassified communications how to address that. He described through declassified communications our founders wanted nothing to do with slavery. And they knew that they would replace. They had slavery rules, torture, extortion, slavery methods, slash S against every individual difference. Therefore, against every single person, to keep the future incapable of being told properly. So you guys have switching names roles interbranch in remote uses of Judge Napolitano's sense and sensibilities. You guys have preventing mandated law, pretending, he's making allegations, changing and faking what people say. I spoke about the specific predicate acts. Channel 3 News attached me to fake conversations with them and with others as a kid and as an adult, as people involved with World Trade Center predicate acts. Wethersfield police have two speech class teachers I have involved with people from Washington, D.C. and the World Trade Center too, involved with sexual and medical offenders of them. And their roles all along Route 175 from the founding locations in Old Wethersfield and conjunctions to it and to that. The same ones all along Route 3 and conjunctions to it and to that, the state judicial branch offices and like the state corrections offices and Walcott Hill Road with the corner of Walcott Hill Road 170 and Route 175. A bunch of people have federal evidences crimes years apart and wire crime acts and methods slash S roles with Wethersfield Police Department, state police, forensics names, as time collusions with a whole bunch of other countries with those same families and overt criminal enterprise, private ones. Whole bunch of people with Korea. They have a pile associated with South Korea. This is against South Koreans still. Psychology is criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. You think you have people who can speak the law legitimately here and there. A whole bunch of people with tomorrow too, with Italy involved with the ones with Korea, with houses and businesses next to Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. They have collusion / inter and intra cities with sexual medical offenders of kids, identity theft, fraud, slander, just planting fake things in databases, and then use /s of it recorded. The Connecticut's New Britain Superior Court and Hartford courts affected confessions to me by foreign and domestic military members before the World Trade Center attack. After it, they confirmed it and demonstrated things about it because one of the ones, Emily or Amy with the Hartford courts. She's switching names. And then there are proofs it might not even be his real name. And Officer Hunter is involved with Central Connecticut State University, with Hartford courts, with falsified police, with predicate acts. And he gave me a ticket, and I had to go to the court, the Hartford court. And I didn't say anything because they don't get on paper legitimately. And then they're lying about what we say online, and they lie about our motives. Eric Burge also sought me out to make a request for help regarding that before the World Trade Center attack. So it's recorded various ways. After the World Trade Center attack, they were trying to hide that. A bunch of people tied to a Joseph Dennis, too, have collusions with a former Mayor Gold and other mayors with some untimely deaths and sexual medical offenders of kids. A bunch of fakes with investigators, and motive screening. And changing and faking what they think about what's on Facebook. Because they've been changing and faking digital evidences. The courts have had collusion /s with crime scenes since I was a kid. A bunch of people tied to Sal Sabiello and his neighbors have collusions with the databases next to each of the campuses I went. I never had a word of conversation with him on my campus. I went to go to a Cub Scout meeting where there one time was him and Richard Dombrowski. Never saw him on a campus in my life, Richard Dombrowski. And they didn't even talk. They were like wanted me not to go there. And I had nothing. Then in other words, that and like I'm not going to make fun of them, but they have a lot of quality aspects that can be made fun of. They use people to do that. Then that kid called me on the phone, asked me if I wanted to buy something, which also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed others tied to him. Confessed, demonstrated, recorded, confirmed him involved with wire crime acts and methods with the police forms involved. And I also recorded this other ways on and off the campuses. There are tactically distinct natures of organized crimes. A bunch of people involved with Wethersfield police and their sources in the news with fake things who are tied to abuse. The same ones have roles with the elderly and middle age. There's a multi-front against, and this is simultaneously where no one's honest about the cities, about the suburbs, let alone the cities. The suburbs were designed before America's founders were born, and they declassified about how a breaching method only permitted roles even with slavery. Anyone's trying to counter all the multi-front things against every difference, therefore every human difference. They were sensed, and they were through bodies like industries do like that. If they didn't sense, they were sensed too. Then that's how the laws and the rules were appreciated. Abridged, criminally foreign influence / worse / tactically delusions raw. We need experts. The names of the people, the scientists are supposed to be experts on things that's still being used remotely. There are all kinds of natures of organized crimes associated with this Leahy family, with multiple courts, personally and professionally, further involved with medical and sexual offenders of kids, organized crimes, criminal enterprises, and Hartford Hospital's databases and the databases of the campuses I went to. Get them off the fake conversations and ties to me with the interbranch side to them. Get them on paper, one name and sequence, Judge Napolitano. Please, get the agencies with the Mazzucato family and foreign and domestic. Don't play games. Don't pretend with these people. Don't make it personal too. Don't bring in Coach Oju to get the culture with an Asian woman who brought up the name Domain at Walgreens, and the way it was brought up and the timing of it. Increasingly too with the Mazzucato family. I don't even know her name. They know my name. A former police chief has rules with the corners of Elm Street and Rocky Hill and Wethersfield that increasingly through the years affected confessions to me from strangers on my street from other areas. And then I recorded them trying to put me in fake ties. They're doing this to other people too, making people look like they're groups and they know each other. Never even had a word of conversation. Don't even know you can live. They're doing this distinctly at all locations/s. For example, so if we bring this up and start bringing up a method/s with predicate acts, with facts, with evidence of racketeering, for example, that is also manifest in the city. These are also multiple police departments at the same time involved in the same house/s with a whole bunch of names tied to them, faking conversations with me, and they're building upon doing that and having done that as roles with their educators too. Forced, tricked, hurt, and persuaded by their educators communicating. You guys are replacing what's actually recorded. You guys aren't even getting onto paper. They use they faked and changed what I communicated with them over the phone, which records them still faking and changing digital evidences, faking and changing phone transcripts with Wethersfield police phones, families, and ties to them. Have roles with foreign and domestic military with Afghan kids and kids before the World Trade Center attack in it and since. They also have roles through wars and replacing what James Madison and our founders declassified what caused the Civil War. The Civil War was caused because no one was allowed to speak up about slavery. So they made, and against all the rules, against women, against all that. Otherwise, they were sensed far short of what they needed to be. Not sensed to be able to defend themselves, even syntactically, therefore physically. In other words, both the South and the North were forced to take part with slavery, and our founders wanted nothing to do with it. And we're supposed to know that clearer than day. But everyone came through sick campuses, sickly distinctly, where this breaching method uses functionally too. How sickly non-distinctly is self-value, where and how you debate things, nature of debate. You can't follow mandated law. Then you want to make allegations and go with the FBI. I told you they lied to you. Former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his co-defendants and their family members, rolls all sides of criminal civil cases and depositions, including their own. They have time collusions at campuses in between them, time conscious use/s of that, and motivation screening. A bunch of houses on 2-road highway, where the Hang Dog Lane, are people that will tell you through others, and then some of them were influenced to make confessions to me. And they hid by response. And they changed fake and they're forced to collusions. These are also people with the U/S of the difference of guilt, where police are shooting and hurting other people and crimes against them. And the difference of them, and as one's also, the difference is exploited where also police have been killed as people involved with this. They are incapable of responding to the police getting killed and hurt, or the people at the same time, because the difference was is used remotely. We have the same color eyes, different color eyes at the same time. We have nature showing us about difference. We have nature teaching us about relativity / hyperrelativity, if you really pay attention. Black pupils, whites of eyes, 2 eyes generated across species bodies. It's about relativity. You guys want theory, you got inside the nature debate, you have quality aspects of nature, criminally foreign influence / tactical delusions raw. A through Z, the names of the people of the sciences, retired and standing. Then they need to pretend it's personal. I've asked them many, many, many times, get them onto paper into branch, one name and sequence, and get me off the fake conversation with them into branch and the people tied to them. Therefore, in the domestic military, like the Slahi family, increasing inclusions with sexual medical offenders within the Brit Spirit Corps and with these retired police chiefs. That's people that affected confessions on my street years apart. And that rolls with untimely deaths too, all kinds of digital crimes too, changing and faking digital evidences while tactically delusions raw. They also have some black KKK, Confederate flag theme, Latino theme, Italian theme, time collusions with the proven child abusers, leaders, the kids, and use/s of that. Something popped up. I missed it, what it said. All right, thank you. Judge Napolitano, please do what's right. And Walgreens and Wethersfield, please get the Wethersfield police in the right, because these are other police departments at the same time, personally and professionally involved with retired Wethersfield police chiefs, like one named Cintron, who's they're forcing me to speak, everyone to speak through others criminally, and he brought up that. So they have his daughter-in-law, reportedly his daughter-in-law, and people tied to a Jonathan Maiano, who have been planting evidences with them, with people at Trinity College and Central Connecticut State University and Harvard and in New Britain, who also have collusion / intercities and intra-cities with people next to campuses, with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and with the news. WTNH has FBI collusions with people named O'Neill, with their kids, with West Hartford campuses, and their kids personally with Wethersfield campuses, with proven sexual and medical offenders of kids, and with whiting forensics. So all kinds of evidence is racketeering and methods of predicate acts manifest. You don't have an identity of law capable of speaking for the law. And that will be changed when you follow mandated law. We're going to pay attention to where and how. Anyone could get away with pretending that they think the suburbs are not declassified. I mean, are not denatured, tactically denatured, let alone the cities. You had American history taught to you wrong. Boxing is strong, but give it rest. One way I taught best, many way. One way / S I taught best boxing. I teach those things, including it's recorded various ways. They've been seeding the sense and sensibilities of people with Connecticut boxing gyms tied to the same house / S involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids. And a bunch of people within the Britain Superior Court involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders with them. There were a whole bunch of people directly and these are people in the fake conversations they had with me too. At Hartford Hospital with this Leahy family. They pretended I said that people were following me and that everyone's evil. They put those kinds of things in, and they faked conversations with me about religion. We're going to pay attention to that, not apart from this. Please, please get them on paper, one name in sequence. Judge Napolitano, please do what's right. This is before the World Trade Center attack. The courts had corruption that affected confessions and requests to help from me. That also brought up location / S use / S intercities that were timed and years apart. Whole bunch of people tied to a Joseph Dennis and his neighbors in conjunctions to him. Interstates, international, with a former Mayor Gold and other mayors. A Ruth used to tie to an old mayor. Involved with the education department too. The Department of Education, house next to it, involved with overt criminal enterprises, private ones with victims advocates. And they have a whole bunch of boyfriends tied to a Bobby, who's a female, might be an intelligence, might be part of the intelligence community, where they train intelligence families at and next to Central Connecticut State University. That is a whole bunch of families that are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. They pretend things are allegations to fake while they're faking, changing, hiding the predicate acts that are the subject. Get me off the fake conversations with the news about the World Trade Center attack. CBS is recording, confessing, demonstrating, confirming with the Wethersfield police at the same time that they're going to pretend other. But they have collusions with that, with the corner of Elm Streets in Rocky Hill and Wethersfield. A bunch of people involved with them with organized crimes in the databases at the campuses. And with this Joshua Stryker too. Trinity College has a Joshua Stryker involved with a police named Darth Vader, who's involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders with the state judicial branch offices and with campuses leaders and people conversations with the leaders, slandering, faking ties to other people. I never had a word of conversation with Joshua Stryker. Eric Oliveri and others recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed they have roles with UPS at the corners of Elm Street in Rocky Hill and Wethersfield with organized crimes with them. And a Bobby Jean, a female named Bobby, and men named Bobby also have collusions with other boyfriends of hers too, with UPS in that corner, Elm Street in Rocky Hill and Wethersfield, A bunch of people are involved with databases at campuses, intercities, intra-cities, interstates, intrastates, international, per worse. This is the method that designed the suburbs. This is the method that designed how you speak about American history, replacing what James Madison declassified, use of your knowledge of good and evil, what everyone said, to get over on what they weren't allowed to say, which they communicated. Then they stole my book because only everywhere place I saw it read. But it's also nature shows it. Black pupils, whites of eyes, a tan, vaccines. Please fix the fake news. They have war, worse than war crimes rules. That's why they start speaking about like strategy and things like that. Strategy is to speak about how James Madison wants to liberate. The Constitution on a bridge is what each body longs. The human species body of individual bodies. All group differences generated by nature's identity. Identity of relationship to itself and only increasing value of that. Here, with special difference, concentrated value here, or demonstrates we're using systems abridged. The Constitution stands abridged / hyper abridged. Free speech is not.